Hey, I've kind of had this idea for a video series that I wanted to do. This is based on growing up without much parental supervision. My parents kind of clocked out when I was young, and I was kind of raising myself as of about 14 to 15, including buying my own clothes and everything. So usually when you're that age and you need guidance and your parents aren't giving it to you, you look for somewhere else to give it to you. And in my case, it was music. And a lot of times the lyrics would talk to me. I was a big fan of the Beatles and John Lennon, and a lot of his stuff spoke to me a lot and kind of served as advice from a parent in a lot of ways in some of these songs that I would listen to. So I thought it would be a great idea to kind of read some of them, and just when you hear them out loud and you don't hear them with the music, it may just spark on you what it was exactly about. When you were singing along to it, you might not have noticed that. I think I'm going to start it off with an interesting one. We'll talk about Who if you've never listened to this artist before, but I'll read you these lyrics. Standing in line, marking time, waiting for the welfare dime, 'cause they can't buy a job. The man in the silk suit hurries by as he catches the poor old lady's eyes. Just for fun, he says, get a job. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is, but don't you believe them. Said, hey, little boy, you can't go where the others go, 'cause you don't look like they do. Say, hey, old man, how can you stand to think that way? And did you really think about it before you made the rules? He said, son, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is, but don't you believe them? Well, they passed a law in '64 to give those who ain't got a little more. But it only goes so far, 'cause the law don't change another's mind. When all it sees at the hiring time is the light on the color bar. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is, but don't you believe them? Well, that song was by a gentleman by the name of Bruce Hornsby. That was his really big hit in 1986. In '64, what he's talking about would have to do with basically the Economic Opportunity Act that was put out in 1964. That was part of the Civil Rights Act. Hornsby's brother, John, had actually talked about the song a little bit. He said the song is mainly about compassion, about understanding racial and social types and beliefs and practices that are different from your own. It's about a status quo that's so complacent in its narrow-mindedness and bigotry that it seems it'll never change. That's why the line, but don't you believe them, is so important. The way it is evokes people to give the poor and to protest against racial segregation, white supremacy, and economic values. Hopefully, if you like this, I'll do some more of these. There's a lot of lyrics out there that kind of stand out when you don't have music around them. But in the meantime, check out Bruce Hornsby and The Range.